Welcome everybody. It's your boy Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios, and it is Tech Tuesday. So, without further ado, let's explain a little bit about what's going on. Now, if you've been keeping up, I've been doing some, secure yourself online videos, but we want to get back to helping others that are trying to excel and exceed and really break into cybersecurity. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Kali VM that we set up a few weeks back, and we're going to start going through this particular Linux distribution and explain a little bit about the GNU Linux operating system, in particular Kali. Again, it's a distribution. Linux is not an operating system, it's a kernel. I can go into a whole lot of details we're not going to get into today. But needless to say, let's go ahead and let's get into it. So I already have up our terminal. Our terminal is how we navigate the operating system. You can use Linux, you can use Kali without a GUI, without a graphical user interface. All right, it is possible. These days, not a lot of people do. Some people, some do, some don't. All right, all depends on who you are and what you enjoy doing. Not all Linux distributions have a graphical desktop environment, but the option is there. And for our instance, we do have one, but that's not what we're going to use to go through today's lessons. So for today, we just want to talk a little bit about the basics of Linux. So if we go in, and just for reference, so you all know, we are using the Linux Basics for Hackers book to go through these lessons. So if you want to pick yourself up a copy, I'll put a link to it in the description. All right, now without further ado, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit. First thing I'm going to do, I'm already logged in as Kali, which is the user, the base user for Kali these days, but we can still switch to root. And because of some of the searches and some of the commands we're going to run, we're going to look at, we're going to switch to root. So if you just do sudo su, that tells it to switch to our root user. Now normally it asks for a password. I already put one in. So now we are root at Kali, so we know we're the root user. So with that, let's go to our our home, or not our home directory, but the root directory of our operating system, and let's hit ls. Now within ls, you have a bunch of different directories and a few files, but this is basically the very home of your operating system, and this is where a lot of things are stored. So or where everything is stored. So /root is the home directory of root. So you see right here, this root, that is root's home directory. Unlike this /home, /home, which is right here, which holds all your user directories, /root has its own fun directory right there. All right, the other one that you need to worry about is Etsy. Etsy is going to have your Linux config files. Then there's mount, MNT, and that is where if you mount like a hard drive or something along those lines, or put another hard drive in, or something, other file systems, basically, they will mount there. And then media is usually where you'll have like CDs or external USB devices. So your USB drives or thumb drives, they normally get mounted to media. And then /bin, and there's a few bin directories, but from the directory we're in right now, this /bin is your binaries, otherwise known as executables if you are used to Windows. And libraries, which are just lib, is the libraries, kind of like Windows DLLs a little bit, but that's where all those are stored. So for our purposes, what we want to do is we want to go to our home directory as root. So let's see where it put us. Whoops, pwd. All right, so see, if you hit CD at any time in the terminal, CD enter, it'll automatically take you to the current user's home directory. So I hit CD enter, and I'm now at /root. And this pwd is print working directory. All right, so we're in our root directory. Awesome. So let's see who am I. So that says I'm root. So if you put in who am I, it'll tell you your current user for that terminal session. So if I go in here and I do a new tab real quick, that is not root. This is just the user, and put who am I, it'll say Kali. And just like if I do CD here, whoops, clear, CD, clear, pwd. I'm in my home directory of Kali. And as you saw, if I do CD here, pwd, I'm in root directory. And if I do CD, pwd, I'm in home Kali. So again, CD, and that's it. always takes you to your home directory. Now, as this is where we're at, and I want to show you some stuff. So we'll use this tab for now, and we're going to say, well, actually, yeah, we're going to use this tab actually. We're going to do cd/etc. So as root, I can get into the etc directory, and I can do pwd. Cool. We know where we're at. Now let's do ls real quick. Cd. Oops. No. Cd emacs. Clear. So now pwd. I'm in the emacs directory. And you'll notice I always hit clear. I tend to like to have a clear terminal screen unless I'm looking for something in particular. So one of the other things I can do is I can do cd ... and that takes me back to /etc. So if you put that double dot after a cd, or for a lot of other commands, depending on where you're trying to create files or do different things, that double dot takes you back one directory. And if you go, let's do cd emacs again, and say we want cd ... that actually takes us back to root. So every time you add another set of double dots, it takes you back one more directory. All right, just a little, just so you're aware. Now, we can do ls, that'll put us there. We don't want to do that. We can do ls home, and that tells us what's in the home directory. And again, we only have one user on here, it's Kali, so the Kali directory, the user's directory, the user Kali, their home directory is right there. Now, one of the other things we can do, so let's do cd and just hit enter. All right, nothing in here. So if I do ls-l, all right, or I don't have anything in this directory, so let's do cd bin. Yeah, that'll work. All right, cool. So ls will list out whatever's in a directory. You've seen me do that several times, and that's what that does. So let's clear that. The other thing we can do is do ls-l. And what that does, as we can see here, is it'll tell us if it's a linked. All right, so we have these symlinks here. All right, it'll tell us if it's a directory. So let's go see if we have any directories in here, which I know we do, but let's go up. Clear. You know what? Actually, that's binaries. Of course, I don't have any directories in there. All right, so let's do cd home. Whoops. Home. And do ls-l here. There we go. Now we see we have a directory. It's Kali, and it's owned by the group Kali and the user Kali. That's who owns this directory. So Kali, the user, can do whatever they want inside of that directory. All right. These are the permissions: read, write, execute, read and execute, and read and execute. So, and then if we do ls-la, the -a. All right, so ls-la is the equivalent of saying ls-l-a. All right, exact same thing, but you can actually link several options together. So we know ls-l and -a and ls-la are the exact same thing. All right, and you can do that for anything that has options. You can link them together. Sometimes if there's a variable or something you need to put after an option, it makes it easier to separate them. But if you can link all the options together, if they just kind of add an attribute, then you can do it that way. And I like to set up aliases. So like if I hit LL, it actually does ls-l. And then I have another one that I haven't set up yet, but it'll actually do ls-la for me. All right, I digress. So the next thing we want to talk about is how to execute or how to look for help for different programs. So one way you can do it is you can do something like aircrack, -ng, and then -- help. And that tells you how to utilize that command. And by putting options after, this is what I mean. So -m and then a number, -a and then a mode. So when you have things like that, you would separate those options. All right, and then you can do, let's go up, and let's try it with -h. And there's nothing there. So aircraft, to access their help screen, use -- help. But if I were to do nmap -h, I get the same thing I got from -- help. But what if I do, let's try this one, and I get the exact same thing. So nmap has built into it the ability to use both options. Not all programs do, as we saw with aircraft. So now if we go to man aircraft ng. What this is this is a man page, all right? Basically the manual for this particular program. It'll tell you everything there is about it in here that you can do. So it gives you a description of the program, and we can press enter, and it'll go one line at a time, and we can see, you know, how to do input files, the common options, so on and so forth. So don't be afraid to look at man pages. And then Q is the quit. So let's clear our screen. So one of the other things we want to take a look at, just for basic commands, is the locate function. So the locate function locates for every occurrence of a particular word, whatever you put in. So if we do locate aircrack-ng, and it doesn't find anything. Odd. It should. So cd locate aircrack-ng. Oh, locate is not here. That's why. Or it's not working. Let's see if we can do it from our user. Nope. Alright. So locate isn't working. Odd. But normally on some instances, and I apologize for that, it worked on older Kali distributions, but it's not working on this one. So it must have been changed, which is fine. Locate kind of works. It's more for occurrences of that particular word. So if you still have it on yours, feel free to use it. The other one is where is. So this will look for binary files. So if we do where is aircrack-ng, it'll tell us it's in user bin aircrack, user include, user share man, man1. So it gives you everywhere that particular binary file would be. All right. The other way we can do and figure out where in our path a particular binary would run from, we can do which aircrack-ng, and it's going to run from user bin aircrack-ng. All right. The other one we can use, so if you want to do like which Python, user bin Python. All right. So we know a little bit about finding where these files are, but let's look a little deeper. All right. One of the other ways you can find files, and a little more advanced, is by using find. So if we do find /space and do -type, so the type of file or directory or whatever we're going to look for. So we're going to say F for file, all right, and name, and then we're going to put in Apache 2, and it's going to go through and it's going to search every single instance of Apache 2, and it is case sensitive and it isn't exact, and it's going to do it from the root directory. All right, this root right here tells us where we're looking from. All right, so we're looking from /. All right, but what if we want to make it a little bit easier? So we want to limit where we're searching from. So we're going to do type is still F, name Apache 2. Oops, Apache 2, and delete. All right, enter. So in Etsy, so now we're not finding it in user lib or user share, user bin. It immediately found it in /Etsy. All right, so we know where Apache 2 is. But what if we want to look for conf files? All right, so we're looking for the actual config files. Well, then you would do find /Etsy, type f-name, Apache 2 dot, and this is where wildcards come into play. So we want to look for something that actually has a dot conf or dot whatever after it. So if we do that, now we get our apache2.conf. You notice because it looks for exacts, there's no star in this word, there's no wildcards, nothing. It found anywhere that exactly Apache 2 was. With the dot star, we now can find anything with a dot and then conf for whatever after it. So if it was a log file that was there, or whatever the case may be. Cool. So now we know how to find files, all right? And you can do this for anything. You can change directories. We can look at different types, and I recommend looking at helper manual pages to be able to find all these different types. So then the next thing we want to look at is how to list processes. So if we do ps-aux, it's going to list every single running process that we have, all right, on the system currently. But maybe we don't want to look at every running process. We only want to look for a certain type. So let's see if we have Apache 2 running at all. So what we would do is we would pipe this to grep, and we would say we were looking for Apache 2. And there it is. Now, what that is, though, is that's grep. All right, so the Apache 2 isn't actually running. What is running is this grep command that was looking for Apache 2. All right, so if we did want to, let's say we wanted ZSH, we could do, let's find all instances of Z shell. We could grep that, and then we see who's running them. So we have Kali right here running an instance of Z shell. We have root running an instance of Z shell. Kali running another instance. And the reason there's two is because I switched users from in here. So it still has that old terminal session running. And then we have, of course, the grep looking for ZSH. So that's how you would, you know, list out your processes and then grep for the process that you're looking for. And these are PIDs. We can go into more detail, but if I wanted to kill a process, this is what you would use as PID to kill it. So let's clear our screen. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to look at how to make files. All right. So there's a few ways you can make files. The first way is a little bit more in detail, or a little bit different than how I normally do it, but we're going to show you. So if I want to do cat, which is concatenate, which normally reads files, right? So if you have a file with text in it, it'll read that text from that file. But if we go and we say cat cyberwarrior, it's going to leave us hanging. It's going to say, hey, what do you want? So if I go in here and I say, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and then hit Control D, oops, enter, Control D, and then I go, okay, what happened? Now I do cat cyberwarrior, and tab will autocomplete. Hey, what do you know? Now I have a file. All right. Now, what if I want to add to that file? Well, if I do cat and then the double sign, we're going to do cyberwarrior. We get the same thing. So we'll say, check the description for all the ways you can follow and support cyberwarrior studios. Enter, Control D. And then we do cat, well, let's clear our screen. Cat cyberwarrior. Oh, too many R's. Hey, what do you know? So it appended, that double greater sign appended that text to the end of the file. So now we have a file called cyberwarrior. So if I hit LS, we see it right there. And it has in there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check the description for all the ways you can follow and support cyberwarrior studios. But what if we wanted to erase that file or put different text in that file? Well, then what we would do is the same way we did initially. So we could do cat cyberwarrior, hit enter, gives us this. And in case you're wondering, you can get our merch from the link in the description below, and then hit Control D, and then once again cyberwarrior, and it changes the text that's in that file. Cool. So that's kind of a weird way to create files, but it allows you to kind of create it and put text in it at the same time. Now, if there's also editors, so things like VI, gedit, Kate, there's a few of them out there that you can use, but that's one of the ways to do it through the terminal. Now, another way you can create a file, so let's say we want to do touch new file. What touch does is it automatically creates a new file. It's blank, there's nothing in it, so if I do ls-la, you can see this new file right here that is 0 bytes and it's blank. All right, cool. So I have a new file. I don't have anything in it. If I wanted to put something in it, I could. But what if we want to create a new directory? mkdir, and we're going to say new directory. Oops. New directory. All right, we now have a new directory. Now if I do ls, I now have the cyberwarrior file, I have new directory, and I have new file. Awesome. We're well on our way. So let's clear our screen and let's do touch old file. So now we have new file, old file, new directory. Now, what if we want to move the old file? So what we would do is we would do cp old file, and we're going to move it to new directory slash, and we're going to call it new file. So by copying this to new, or you know what, let's make it a little better, that way we know what we're doing here. We're going to say /. That // says use the current directory and then navigate. And now we're going to say OK. Now, if I do cd to new directory, what are we going to have in here? Well, we have new file, which is the exact same as the old file. So all we did, what cp does, is it copies. That is your copy command. And then it'll copy that file to whatever directory you're putting it in. And if you put this name here, how we put new file, it'll rename it to new file. Now, if I do cd back, clear, ls, cr old file. Now, if I just do cp old file and do / new directory and hit enter. Now, when I go into new directory, since I didn't put a name under it, now I have both files. New file and old file are there again. Now, what if I want to rename something? Well, if you want to rename something, what you would do is you would do move. So mv is move, new file, and we would call it new file 2. And now if I go in here, new file has become new file 2. So that's how you rename it. There's no rename command. You just move the file within the same directory and give it a different name. All right. Now, if we want to remove something, we use rm. So we say remove new file 2, and now new file 2 is gone. But what if, and let's go back a directory. All right. What if we wanted to remove this directory? Well, you remove directories with rmdir, and we would say remove new directory. But with remove directory, rmdir, you cannot remove a directory that has files in it. Well, that kind of sucks, but it's a safety feature, because sometimes you don't want to remove directories, kind of like your root directory, if there's files there that you actually need. But let's just say you knew you didn't need anything in this directory. How would you remove it all? Well, you'd go in and you would say rm-r, which is a recursive delete, and you would say new directory. Whoops. Now, if I do ls, now new directory is gone. So that is a little bit about lesson 1 and chapter 1 from Linux Basics for Hackers. I hope you got something out of it. This has been something that I've wanted to do for a while. So thank you all for joining me today. And I truly hope to see you again next week. Please, if you have any comments, leave them down below. Don't forget all the ways you can support it down below also. But otherwise, until next time, take care, and I'll see you in cyberspace.